I'm Justin Allen with the RBL Group. As Dave Ulrich and Mark Nyman have discussed in our previous video, organization capabilities are HR's most important deliverables. In this video, I'm going to share how one company ensured that their differentiating capabilities allowed them to better serve all of their stakeholders. In Chapter 2, we suggested that part of building a business case is defining how you will deliver value to stakeholders both inside and outside of the company. This stakeholder mapping will help you build the business case for why HR transformation is important. It also provides the basis for measuring results. Having specified a line of sight between HR activities and the value delivered to key stakeholders, you can then develop clear and simple measures to track the extent of benefit key stakeholders derive from your transformation. If you are successful, then a number of positive outcomes can and should occur for each stakeholder. Let me share an example from a group of leaders who did this well. First off, they identified all of the stakeholders who were most important for the future business success: customers, investors, employees, regulators, communities, etc., and determined which organization capabilities were most important for delivering value to these stakeholders. We talk about how to identify the most critical organization capabilities earlier in Chapter 3. And in this case, the leadership team determined that talent, speed, and innovation were the three most critical for their organization. Then they divided 100 points between each of their stakeholders, giving a higher number or a higher priority for those who mattered most. Next, they identified measures that tied to their capabilities for each stakeholder. These measures needed to be reliable, accurate, transparent, and easy to collect. So, for example, the highest priority stakeholder for this organization was customers. For their customers, they chose to measure customer share, which they linked to their capabilities of speed and innovation. In other words, they believed that if they were the first ones to market the organization capability of speed, and if they delivered exciting new products, organization capability, innovation, then they would increase customer share. The second metric they chose for customers was the Net Promoter Score, or the extent to which customers would recommend their products to friends and family. They chose this measure because it was believed that it was directly linked to their capabilities of talent and innovation. They believed that if they had the smartest talent in place, they would be able to consistently develop products that their customers loved so much that they would then tell everybody about them. So that's the two measures for their customers. Now let's move to investors. For their investors, they chose to use a long-term measure and a short-term measure. First, they measured the stock price bounce during the first week when they introduced a new product. They believed that a positive, significant bounce was tied to innovation and speed. Next, they calculated their average P/E ratio during the previous 5 years versus competitors, because they believed that a high P/E ratio indicated the market's attribution of intangible value due to having consistent ability to develop talent, and so on. They developed 2 or 3 key metrics for each of their stakeholders based on their differentiating organization capabilities. In this manner, they were able to ensure that their HR work to develop organization capabilities had a direct and positive impact on important stakeholder outcomes. So, as you 1, identify and prioritize stakeholders, and 2, monitor measures which are tied to your capabilities, you can begin to see the impact of your HR transformation in terms of outcomes for the stakeholders you serve.